Hi-ho, Pimlico. Here we are, Friday. And as I mentioned, we're not having Keith, but we have pretty equivalent to as the best thing. Dave Rodman, voice of Maryland, with us. We don't have a track shot, but things are looking pretty good out there. I'm just checking things out behind us. We have a firm track and a fast track and a firm turf, Dave. Things
and
are
a little
looking
breeze,
good.
a little breeze, cloudy skies, perfect race calling conditions, I think, instead of bright sunshine, and a really nice day. And on top of it, a very tough card. I mean,
It was
I
a
told
doozy.
Keith this is probably the toughest card I've had to handicap at Pimlico Laurel in the last 3 years, I would say.
I would have to agree. I looked at it and I'm like, I said to myself, this card is going to take me a while to go through and knock out. And it surely was. I did have to take my time on it. But for those who did, we are just going to give you a little bit of a preview on our thoughts for today's card. We did all of the hard work for you, so we're going to give it to you. Starts in this early pick 5 in this claiming 25 for the girls, which have never won 2. 3/4 of a mile on the dirt here for the 3-year-olds, and up scratching the coupled entry 1A Kentucky Rain and the number 6 Blueberry Indigo. Dave, let's go ahead and take a look right away at our shared top selection, Guardian Angel. This one in the barn of Carlos David and Javian Toledo.
Yeah, second time in the barn off a good effort at Monmouth. How good was it? Your top pick, my top pick. We'll take a look. Put in tight quarters in the opening 16th of a mile. You see there on video in the spotlight. Had to settle, take back a little bit off the lead, and then made a nice move right into the pace by the time they got to the half-mile pole. And top of the lane was on the lead, a length in front at the 8th pole. Had to dig in. Shiny Slam eventually wins the race, but a good effort. Shiny Slam with a big run to nail the loose Guardian Angel in the stretch, who had trouble in the race. So had that horse not had the trouble? Was it a half a head different? I think so. So we're going to hope that she runs that race back today. And that race, I think, would put her right on the top there. Javian Toledo, I think he's got 1,499 career wins coming into today.
Just a heads up, almost about to hit 1,500 for Javian Toledo. You heard it from the man, Dave Rodman. 1 to go for 1,500. You also have the number 2, 5,2. Bit of a value, 15 to 1 for Jose Corrales and Georgie Hernandez.
Right, off a good effort on the dirt after a good effort on the turf. She showed speed on the grass behind Daily Planet. A closing winner in the perfect finish to get up over Perfectly Golden, who came back to win. Set the pace last time out with that inside draw. I think their idea is going to be to go down in there. She's a big price on the morning line, and a winner out of that race already. Queen Temperature came back to win.
There we have it. Dave Rodman, 7-2-4-5 there to kick off the early pick 5. Race number 2 kicks off Dave's early pick 4, and here's how his ticket lines up for us.
Well, there's a single in the 4th race, horse number 8, and when you play horses, you have to invest wisely. So that's what we're doing. We're going to key invest wisely. Number 8, or Brittany Russell, back to the turf after a drubbing on a track that she didn't like the dirt and trouble at the start. But a repeat of that race way back, I think, is probably the best of the 4-race sequence there, but spreading in the second to start it with 1, 3, 5, and 9. Third race using 1, 6, and 9. Fifth race a 1, 7, and 8, and a reasonable ticket, less than a $20 bill there for the early pick 4. But the second race, one of those races we talked about at the beginning of the show, where you could go many ways. So couldn't find a single or even narrow it down to a couple in the second race. I went to the 5 on top in here, and that's Pursuing Pace for Kieran McGee. Placed first through DQ at Colonial last time out, but has run races over this track that would win, specifically last year, September 2022, behind West Newton, who I believe now is a jumper, right?
Yes.
But a very good effort. Likes this turf course, and is one of the many with numbers in range to win in here. I think we'll get a good positional speed off the turf on the turf today.
Kieran McGee doing well from Colonial to Pimlico as of lately. That was number 5, Pursuing Pace that Dave touched on. You also go with the number 3, My Top Selection in Ripken. A price of 8 to 1 for Damon Deal de Vigo. Angel Cruz back in that same barn that he was in at the beginning of his career.
Yeah, older horse is definitely an underachiever for a while in Maryland. Then he shipped out to various tracks, Penn National. and finally found his stride. And I think he's going to come back the same horse back into the Damon Dilladovico barn. He always gives his best effort, makes a big run. Sometimes his run has to be timed just right. That's kind of the key with him. Like pursuing pace, he's going to be coming from off the pace today, so I'm hoping for a solid lick up front, maybe setting the pace out there. I think Prince of Capsule shows some forward early speed in here. Stimulus Maker down to the inside had some early speed on the turf as always. Hugh McMahon sending out Stimulus Maker the last 30 days from that barn. I think you've got to look at almost everything they send out. 5 for 24 actually the last 2 weeks in that barn. 5 of 24. And a really good win percentage. 4 of 9 the last 2 weeks and 5 of 24 the last 30 days is what I'm trying to tell you.
We got it.
The barn is hot right now.
Super hot there is 53194. Dave Rodman with the scratch of 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 in that claiming 16. Non-winners the 3, a mile and 16th on the turf. Let's carry on over to race number 3, that second leg of the early pick 5. This is a maiden claiming 20,000, 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Dave, let's go ahead and take a look at Austin from Boston back on that last start here over at Pimlico.
A fast race, 1:11, 3/5 of a second by the eventual winner of the race, Sheriff Ronnie, who runs his best number when breaking the maiden here at Pimlico, 83. He also ran an 83 as a maiden in the Sir Barton Stakes against Arabian Lion, did Sheriff Ronnie, but he puts on his best game today. Unfortunately, Austin from Boston had a little bit of trouble, was kind of herded out late in the stretch, eventually finished third in that race, but was forwardly placed, and that's what I think he'll be again today. So off the quick race against Sheriff Ronnie. I think he's going to be a factor, but he's had a few chances for sure, and I don't think he's actually immortal in this race, but your horse Senator Kelly is coming off a time away for a barn that can get him ready after a long layoff.
Brittany Russell 3 for 8 in the last 5 years with these 360-day, 430-day layoffs. Of course, coming off of a 439-day layoff for Senator Kelly.
How about Anthony Pecoraro, a Tappert first-time starter from the inside? Tappert is 14% winners with 2-year-old first-time starters. His workouts go way back that don't really appear in your form. This horse is working at Oaklawn in January and wound his way here to Kentucky, to the Mid-Atlantic through Kentucky, you see. He'd been working at Keeneland, then at Delaware Park for Pecoraro, from a barn that does well with first-time starters. So I think he had a lot of talent. Maybe he had some issues, some gaps in his works from January at Oaklawn to the spring string at Keeneland, and then bringing him here to Maryland. The barn is dangerous, and he's by a sire that can get firsters in the winner's circle, and he's going to be a decent price, I think, in the third. That is Court Contender. The 2 Army Ranger, another first-time starter. Army Mule doing well with 2-year-old first-time starters at a 13% clip. The damn Silky Omega had 2 wins going long in Japan, so I don't know what to make of that. Maybe a little bit longer distances in his future. But the barn, again, a $2 ROI, first-time starters from the Annette Eubanks barn. He'll be a huge price as well. So even if you like Senator Kelly, you like Austin from Boston, I think using the 1 and 2 underneath at least would be a smart move in the third.
And there we have it, Dave Rodman giving you some prices underneath in that second leg of the early pick 4. Race number 4 is a maiden special weight, a mile and an eighth on the turf for the girls 3, 4, and 5. Scratch in the 10 time goes fast, the 11 Princess Cairo, and the number 12 Jersey Joyce. Dave, you have the number 8 on top. This is Invest Wisely, as you so mentioned earlier in your pick 4. I believe this is your single, Brittany Russell. Sheldon Russell gets the call.
Yeah, like Brittany horse coming off a layoff. Well, it didn't work out at Delaware last time out. The race was moved from the turf to the dirt. She stumbled at the start and was beaten almost 50 lengths. Draw a line through the race. That was her first time at Lasix, so this is first Lasix on the turf. The winner of that race, Brooklyn Girl, ran her best Beyer figure in winning with a 68. The filly that she ran third behind 2 back at Aqueduct last year, Belmont and Aqueduct, September of last year, implicated, is a pretty good filly. She came back to win her next start. She won the $120,000 Chelsea Flower Stakes in her next race. So back on the turf today is the key for Invest Wisely. And it's first time Lasix on the turf, and she had kind of a gallop around on a track that she didn't really like.
Of course, and then underneath you have the number 4, Compass Rises for Chucky Lawrence. Gets J-Ron Barbosa in the saddle. Decent effort last time out at Delaware.
Yeah, I mean, I thought her race 3 back behind Sunbee, who came back after that maiden race to capture an allowance other than, was good enough to fit in the picture in here with Barbosa aboard, getting one of our leading riders here for Chuck Lawrence. She's had a few races underneath her belt. Seems to be kind of an even pace filly, but did have some trouble last time out at Delaware Park. Forced a little wide at the quarter pole. How much did it cost her? Maybe not a couple of lengths, but certainly her numbers are there, and putting up her best hoof forward, so to speak, and getting that distance of 1.1 1/8 for the first time shouldn't be any problem out of a lemon drop kid mare.
Yeah, absolutely. And for fun, you include the number 5 underneath at a price of 30-1. Magic in the Park for Tim Keith. Johan Rosado gets the call. This one by Street Magician.
This is the first foal out of MacArthur Parkway, who was an allowance turf route horse. A 73 buyer, I think, was her best number in the life. Not that she's going to run a 73 today, but anywhere in the 60s and 70s. You look at the competition in this race. Yeah, if she does, she's had a race. She's a sprinter route for Tim Keefe and getting Lasix for the first time. And Little Josie Wales was the winner of her last sprinting with, I thought, an above par number for maiden $45,000 claimers, though she was in for the waiver tag there, being the Maryland bred first time out. So she fits pedigree-wise as a contender if she can stretch her abilities from sprint to route.
And there we have it. Dave Rodman 8-4-5-7 there in race at number 4. The last leg of the early pick 5 is in race number 5. Also kicks off that Rainbow Pick 6 just a tick over $5,000. We're going to get to climbing maybe 6, 7, 8 grand by the time we get to that 5th race. And let's take a look at my ticket really quickly. I kick off, if you're going to go any wider in this race, go wider in race number 5, because although it's a claiming 5,000, but there's plenty of head scratching going on in that race, which makes it all the more interesting. So I go 1, 2 in there. Of course, my single, and we'll get to this one, race number 9, Post Time, coming back off of a big layoff for the Russell and Hillwood stable. But race number 6, I go 3 deep there, as well as race number 8. Race number 7, I'm looking forward to that race. I go 4 wide in there, a couple of them coming off of a decent layoff on that turf event. That's a dirt event in that maiden claiming 45. The 8th race is an interesting allowance, some coming off of the layoff on that 1.16 dirt effort, and I go 2 deep in race number 10 in that nightcap, the inside and the outside in 1 and 10, $28.80 to get the ticket started. And as I mentioned, begins in this $5,000 claiming level, 3/4 of a mile race for the 3-year-olds and up. No scratches in here. You and I both land on the number 1 Spitball for Hugh McMahon and Jean Avello.
Kind of a lukewarm choice. As we mentioned earlier in the show, Hugh McMahon barn last 30 days, 5 for 24 last 2 weeks, 4 of 9. An honest sprinter dropping into the nickel today. Is run behind the very fast Bernie's on Fire last year over this track. Was 3rd going the 1-turn elongated mile at Laurel behind multiple winner Albertano. Hard-knocking claiming horse, has been around here for years, always gives his best. This is his first effort at Pimlico since September of last year. He's never won at this track, but he has a couple of seconds against good company that would put him in the picture. At a short price, though, I might take a little stab here on the ticket with number 8, Our Hoisted Mass, who's 2 for 5 at Pimlico. I know Frank Vespi liked this horse last time out at Timonium, and I was scratching my head as to why. And I mean, the winner of the race, Wicked Mad, won by 7. He was beaten 10 lengths, so he was right there against Blame It on the Fun, who would probably fit against this group today. And he's run some races in the past that would blast this field away, though it was a long time ago. That nickel win at Laurel back December of 2022 in another barn from right off the pace there. I've seen this horse come close way back and make a big run. I've seen him right up on the pace here. So maybe he can relive one of his better races and hit the board at a price. Our Hoisted Mast, because there's not a whole lot to love in this spot for the nickel level.
Exactly. So interesting take. I like that at 30-1. We'll see what that one comes up with. You also include the number 7 Crowned Count Christopher Fun Mario Saray Jr. Martina Rojas, a team that's been doing pretty well together since they linked up.
Well, here's a horse that's won at Pimlico, right? Our Hoisted Mast is 2 for 5 here. The top selection of us, our Spitball, has not won a race over this, but Crown Count Christo has won a race. He's got a 2nd and 2/3. This race 2 back at Delaware caught the eye. 4th beaten 3 lengths behind Classy Solution, who followed that race with a win in the 3rd. So the horse has been pretty consistent at the nickel level. Crown Count Christo on his best day figures in the mix as well, with hot riding apprentice Martina Rojas aboard. Been getting a lot of run out of horses.
Absolutely. Martina Rojas with Mario Saray Jr. 3 for 5 as of lately, especially on the dirt. So that's something to definitely raise your eyebrows at. And we will be right back after this commercial break to talk about the rest of Friday's card.
And they're off.
Welcome back for the rest of Friday's action, where we're going to get through this head-scratching card for you. The action does kick off back here in our Jackpot Super High 5 race and the start of the late pick 5, but that Jackpot Super High 5 almost to a $5,000 carryover pool just underneath it, about $20 away from it. So of course pay attention for that. Starter optional 12.5. This does begin in a mile turf event for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch in the number 7, Analyze Houdini. Scratch the big scratch in the number 10 in Gunslinger. But let's go ahead and take a look at Jackie A all the way back earlier this year over at Pimlico.
Now, here's a horse I thought was maybe a great 7-furlong dirt horse, right?
Yes.
But this was a great ride and a big effort. Carlos Lopez aboard. It's back aboard him today on the turf last spring at Pimlico. A good number, beating Working on a Dream and 1-2 Kid. He's in the red cap there, I believe he is, and comes rolling through from Mopo Racing. There he is, circled. Gets a nice run in between horses, granted. I wouldn't say a perfect trip, but a good maneuvered trip in between horses, and comes rolling. So he's kind of one of my favorite horses, and he tries all the time. Turf and dirt, and he's particularly effective on the dirt crosstown at Laurel. I've seen some really thrilling finishes and going away finishes with him, too, going 7/8 of a mile. Somebody might be in for him today with a 12.5 tag. Last 2 times out, well, he faced Uncle Curly, was in tight in that race, and before that, a horse that ran a big number in my figures on July 22nd on the dirt in AC Expressway. But he comes back in a spot where he could be forwardly placed. I think he'll be a lot more forward, perhaps, than Artemis Bridge, the horse that draws into the race, and maybe there's another runner in here who Mint Game, who comes from well off the pace, probably getting ready for Maryland Million as well. So I think he's got a little more tactical speed on the lawn here at Hi-Ho Pimlico.
Absolutely, and another one who does have tactical speed, can push it up a little bit. Fergal Lynch gets the ride back on Farrier's Certere with a couple of these scratch. I think with the scratch of the 10, it really helps out this gelding's chances today.
That's a key scratch, because we know Gunslinger likes to do one thing, flaunt his speed early, take it as far as he can, but he's the speed. He's scratched out of here. And Certere, I'd probably be much more forward today than you would think, especially with the scratch of Gunslinger. Mm-hmm. If you like that name I mentioned there, Uncle Curly. Here's a horse beaten 2 3/4 lengths of the Meadowlands on the way back by Uncle Curly in a good effort as well. He's beaten Gunslinger before. The horse is scratched out of here today, and then Gunslinger beat him last time out, though with a little bit of trouble. Honest horse, I think he's going to get a lot of play for that reason. He's a horse that a lot of people use in the exactas, at least underneath. Even if you don't like him at a short price, he's always a danger.
And there we have it for our jackpot super high at 5 race. That pool will be definitely a tick over 10 grand, 5 grand by the time race number 6 starts and it finishes. Race number 7, to continue on with the rest of the card, is a maiden claiming 45. 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 2-year-old fillies. Scratch in the 3, Eric Brown's Girl. Big scratch in the number 9, Cloudy Night. 11, Irish Angel. And the 16, To Be Loved by You. You and I both kick in for the horse that drew in off of the AE list. Number 13, Puddin' and Pie for Miguel Vera, gets Horacio Caramanos.
Yeah, this was the key, whether she was going to get into the race. And this morning she gets in, and I had to make her my top pick, right? Your top pick as well.
Yep.
She's by Unified out of Plum, and that makes her a half to Edie Meany Miney Mo, who was also trained by Miguel Vera. If you're unfamiliar with that horse, very fast. Early in the career. I think broke maiden here at this track, has been working bullets at this track. So Puddin' Pie, though outside, draws in a little bit now with a sketch of the 3, the 9, and the 11, moving her in a few spots. And if she's as fast as her sister, well, the race might be over. But this is not a very easy spot to come in here, right? Puddin' Pie, because there's a lot of other fillies in here that factor. Another first-time starter, Battling Time by Great Notion out of Misty in Malibu. That damn Misty in Malibu won at first asking, though it was on the turf, but she was a quality mare, winning $112,000. Great Notion, the sire, we all know well. First-time starter, 2-year-old dirt sprints, producing 18% winners. That's incredible after all these years, right? All the Great Notions around, and most of them are pretty fast, and they like the dirt, they like the sprint, they like anything, really. So you've got to take a look at her from the Elkstone Group and Brittany Russell. So the 2 first-time starters have in the mix in there, could kind of gone either way. In the 10, Just One Thing is our stat of the day for Jose Corrales. A little blinker change here today, Collie. Just the Thing will race with blinkers on, with 2-year-old maiden claimers right here. That's this kind of race. Past 3 years, Jose Corrales is $2.19 ROI, 6 for 37. 5-year stat, very good as well. Maybe a little better ROI, but still a nice stat. Adding the blinkers this afternoon, and was third behind a debut runner named Lily Lightning at Timonium, making the pace all the way down to the inside in a good effort after a little bit of time away. That was a Hillwood stable, Rodney Jenkins trainee, that beat her last time out. Lily Lightning, who looked like she had a lot of talent, did it the hard way, going wide on the bull ring there. She looks like a filly. Maybe the blinkers might move her up. Beaten a couple lengths last time out by that firster, and the shorter distances at Pimlico and Laurel, beaten only 3 lengths. Looks like she wants to reach for a little more distance and maybe a little more focus today with the addition of the peepers.
With that outside post might help as well, as Dave Rodman goes 13, 4, 10, 1 in race number 7. Race number 8 is an allowance, a mile and 16th on the turf for the girls 3 and up. Scratch in the number 4, G. Lori. Scratch in the number 8, 6, The Hard Way. And scratch in the number 11. She's a Rolling Stone. Dave, you have the number 7 on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at that last effort at Colonial, that win with Queen's Garden for Shug McGahee.
Just keep your eye on this filly. I mean, I thought a very, very impressive run. Launching a rally here, just about 3/8 of a mile left to go in Virginia. Taken there to the outside for the stretch drive. She's out in the clear, and let her stretch her legs, says Forrest Boyce, and there she goes. She was beaten 3 lengths, beaten a length and a quarter. Ran third 2 races back by a horse named Watch This Birdie, who came back to beat me out of the pick 4 immediately at Churchill Downs just the other day. Came back to win, so I have to go to Queen's Garden today. A filly who went in the clear. Looks like she has plenty of talent. I think she'll get another good run today over this turf. I'm very excited to see her this afternoon.
And you have underneath the number 3 Gold Digging Broad for Miguel Vera gets Carlos Lopez, was bumped up in that stakes effort in the All Brandy last time out against a nice Mikey Gorham horse.
Yeah, a little bumping there, beating the nose in the photo, was placed first through disqualification. Maybe the inside horse, Recinto Rompere, getting Lasix for the first time, is going to set sail on the front, but maybe Gold Digging Broad will try to press her at some part of the race, and Queen's Garden will get a good journey today. Gold Digging Broad, I thought, a good effort. Likes the grass, very consistent. The inside, Archino Rompere, first time Lasix for Arnaud Delacour. That's a good angle and a positive ROI too. 20% in the winner's circle, first time Lasix for Arnaud Delacour, using Lasix for the first time. Looking at her form, 5 at Monmouth, breaking the maiden showing speed. I think she's going to go to the front today and try to take her speed a long way. She's been off since November of last year is the big question, but that's not a problem either, right? Delacour getting him ready and fit with a lot of stamina. She's got the pedigree to get the distance for sure, even with the layoff. So a lot of positives there for the inside, Racino Rompere.
A lot of positives for a nice group of fillies here in this allowance. Dave Rodman goes 7-3, 10-1. Race number 9 is an allowance optional claiming 40,000. Going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch the 2, Mystic O'Shaughnessy, the number 3, Johnny Z from Albany, the number 6, Mose Perfect, and the number 11, Lad Needs a Handler. But we are all here for one purpose in this race, and that is to see Post Time come back into form. Let's go ahead and take a look at that last effort on that last win on December 3rd.
Right, and much more controlled behavior effort, right? First start, very erratic in the stretch, yet to win in impressive fashion. Second out, green, but still one-handy at Laurel October 27th. We're taking a look back here at the race on December 3rd over a muddy strip at Laurel, the last time to make it 3 for 3 for the Frosted Colt Maryland bred that we're all anxious to see on the comeback trail today. Let's look at the rider there. Handily is the comment. You don't see that too often from Bill and Keith up there. Now, granted, maybe on the best part of the track that day, but still. Come on, Callie. What do you think of that?
Eric doesn't have to do anything. He just said, I remember after that race, he said he just did that for fun. So finally, the first couple of races that you referred to, the horse does have a bit of a fun personality, so it probably took some time for him to add. That was the race that we just saw where the focus light bulb went on a bit.
Kind of put his ears up at the end too, going, now what? Now
yeah,
what
exactly.
do I do? Right
so,
after he passed that horse on the lead, I noticed that. So they've taken their time with him. You know, he's immensely talented. That was last year as a 2. Now as a 3-year-old, he's coming back against older horses who've done some damage. You know, 8-time winner, top boss. Most Perfect is out of the race. I was going to use that horse underneath. Magic Mule has finished second and third 20 times from 41 starts, keeping good company. Some of the speeds come out with Lad Needs a Handler on the outside, scratch the 2, 3, 6, and 11. So we're all anxious. I guess if he doesn't show up, what do? Just pretend he's not in the race. So we go with Magic Mule, who's got 4 wins out of 41, 10 seconds, 10 thirds. How about the outside? Minister or Magic? First time gelding for...
Jane Sabelli.
I'm sorry. Is that first time gelding? Did I write that wrong? I think I saw that on Equibase this morning. I did.
I think you did.
Yeah,
yes.
So... for trainer Jane Sabelli. So there's a bit of a change there. He actually has a number at Monmouth, May 21st, that would be very competitive against this spot. I did not get a chance to look up Jane Sabelli with first-time geldings before I went on the air. If I find something good, I'll text it to you.
Sounds good.
All right?
Sounds good. I appreciate that. 5-1, 10-9. We're all waiting on post time there in race number 9 from Dave Rodman. And race number 10, our nightcap of the day. The finale is a maiden claiming at 20,000. Short dash for cash on the grass, 5 on the turf. 3, 4, and 5-year-olds scratching the number 9. Bigger scratch, in my opinion, the big enchilada. You have the number 3 on top. Thunder House for Milan Milosevic. J.D. Acosta returning back is going to try and get that 5 furlong distance today.
This is more of a hot barn angle.
Yes.
Right, Milan
yes.
Milosevic, right? Last 45 days, 26%. Milan Milosevic, ROI at 355. 5 of 19 in a horse that figures, though on paper it looks like he just kind of hangs around. But I thought a good effort, 2 back. On the turf, behind Sir Lance, a long shot winner. Bubba Chrome, second place finisher of that race, came back to win his next start, and he beat a horse who draws in off the AEs and reap what you sow on the outside for Alexander White and Forrest Boyce. So I had to use that horse in the mix. The first-time starter by Irish War Cry for a trainer that has a hot stat on the turf with first-time starters, Phil Schoenthal, out of a good dam in my time, who was 3 for 9 on the grass, 161,000. Good time to be Irish's dam in my time. $161,000 winner on the lawn. Schoenthal 3 for 25 with first-time starters in turf sprints and a positive ROI. And this has been in recent times too. He did one at Colonial Downs this summer to pay a bundle, right?
Yes.
So you got to kind of look at that horse a little bit. The one, Master Uguay, I don't know what's going on there. I saw blinkers on and I kind of got excited, but then I realized, well, he's had blinkers on before and he kind of ran the same race. So sprinting from the route and time away, but adding the blinkers for James Sabelli down on the inside, but he gets Axel Concepcion. He's going to be a short price, right? He's 9 to 5 on the morning line.
I've been waiting for this horse to shorten
him,
up.
you like him today,
yes,
right?
I've been waiting for this horse to shorten up in distance. So sure, he's had blinkers on before, but I'm going to give him this pass since we're going a bit shorter today.
Yeah, I mean, he figures in this race.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Yes.
But maybe I'm just looking too far.
It's okay.
Too deep into the weeds here. But
that's what you're here for.
Yeah. So anyway, try to beat that chalk in the last for me. 3, 2, 1, and 10.
And that's our wrap up for our paddock chat here, or post time, pre-post time here for all of our races. Yeah, today at the races. That is what it's called.
You're thinking of post time.
I am thinking of post time.
I'm
just so excited for post time.
It's almost post time at Pimlico.
It is almost.
Literally,
there we have it.
And maybe later.
That's the tagline I've been waiting to use.
Okay,
There we have it.
right.
So let's get into your value play here. Race number 6, number 11, Jackie A coming back with always a hard knocking horse.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to get as good a price now with Gunslinger out of the race, right?
Correct. I think you're right on that. Before that, we had. Did we have a double digit?
Yeah.
We're
Gunslinger's out.
Back.
The 10, who was going to be the speed. And I thought he was going to get a lot of money, but you may get half of what he is in the morning line. Not sure. But I think he's a hard-knocking horse. Loves the turf. Loves the dirt. I'll go stick with him now. It's too late to change.
And let's talk about your best bet. You're looking very forward to the potential
What do you think?
talent.
Do you think it's going to be post time? No. You saw the video of 7 Queen's Garden there. I thought a very impressive run. Started the bid, about 3 furlongs left to go. Unwound midway on the turn and just in full stride down the stretch.
Absolutely.
Real nice stride on Queen's Garden. Hopefully can repeat that today in Maryland.
And there we have it for Dave Robbins' value play and best bet through a Friday's card so far. But just wanted to give a little bit of a nod. The TCA, the Thoroughbred Charities of America, grants to about $821,000 were awarded this year, over 75 organizations, and the Maryland Horse Foundation was one of them. So over the many years, the Maryland Thoroughbred Career Program Fellows have found jobs in areas of interest throughout several states. So this program was designed to offer young people an in-depth exposure to the thoroughbred industry from the breeding shed to the racing office. Of course, the front runner of that program is Cricket Goodall, and just quoted from her from some chat with Frank at the Racing Biz is, I believe that it's important for these young folks to see that there are various opportunities that will allow them to embrace their passion for horses while using their talents to make it a career in the equine industry. That's the goal of the program. To me, Dave, from what I see in the program, I believe it's one of the better programs in the country. It's really neck and neck with any program that Kentucky has.
Yeah, we need people to get interested in the game and have a passion for it, and they're well on their way to making many fans, employees, and trainers, etc.
Absolutely. I think Cricket does an amazing job with the crew that she brings out every single year, and we'll see what she has for this year and next year's group. Stay tuned to find out, but we are going to get back to Dave in just a second for some more changes and scratches.
Good luck today.